It is a victory Monday for the Carolina Panthers. They beat the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, in Lambeau yesterday. 16-13. That's a big win. That is one that can't be discredited. That is not, as we've heard how many times, oh, wow, they went on a 3-game win streak, but look at those defenses. Right? Oh, whoa, you beat the Dolphins, you beat Atlanta. Ooh, no, it's not that. It's you beat one of the best teams in the NFC. And you rendered one of the best players in the entire league completely numb. They didn't have an impact. Micah Parsons, according to, as I bring up the stat here to make sure I have it absolutely correct, according to Next Gen Stats, the Panthers held Packers pass rusher Micah Parsons, the legendary Micah Parsons, the big trade of the offseason / right before the season, Micah Parsons, to no pressures on 21 pass rushes. The first time in his NFL career he did not have a pressure. There's no way you can discredit this one. So how did they do it? Well, I'll tell you how. Defense and Dowdle. Defense and Dowdle. D&D. Defense and Dowdle. And the defense wasn't perfect, and the offense wasn't perfect. But when you start with the baseline of, we're going to get Rico Dowdle 25-plus touches, and our defense is going to do everything it possibly can to make life difficult for the opposing offense, you can maybe, if you get a break here and there, maybe withstand some boo-boos and some ouchies, some mistakes here and there on your own. Rico Dowdle, here's the stat right here, right? And thank goodness the Panthers picked up on this. When Rico Dowdle gets at least 15 touches, 15 or more touches, they are 4-0. Pretty good. When he gets less than 10 touches, they are 0-4. That right there should be enough. So you get him 25 carries alone. He finishes with 130 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and you win the gosh darn game. Because your defense did enough, and your offense gave them a chance, just gave them a shot. And it could have been worse, meaning you could have won by more if Bryce Young doesn't throw an interception down there in the red zone. And after that, it became very obviously, let's take the ball out of Bryce's hands as much as we possibly can. And defense and Dowdle made that possible. Here's the crazy part. And I actually went and looked it all up. I have the notepad right here with notes on it. The Packers had the ball 7 times. They had 7 drives. 6 of them should have ended in points. 6 of them, Jordan Love led them down into the point-scoring area. I'm going to tell you how their drives ended. On Carolina's 16-yard line, comfortably in the, if we don't mess this up, we're at least getting 3. Savion Williams fumbled. Roseboom forced it. Nick Scott recovered it. That's going to make Matt LaFleur pull his hair out. Next drive, field goal good from Carolina's 31. Next drive, meaning the drive stalled on Carolina's 31. It was a 48-yard field goal. Next drive, field goal good from Carolina's 8 as half expires. Next drive, missed field goal from Carolina's 25. Comfortably where you should make it. It was a 43-yard miss. That was halftime expiring, by the way.
Windy day.
Windy day. Next one, weird. This is the only one that didn't make it into point-scoring area. Weird launched interception from Jordan Love into triple coverage that Trevon Merrick could have fair caught. That was from their own 24. Again, if they're going to give it to you, you catch it, call it a day. Turnover on downs on Carolina's 13. Wild decision to go for it on 4th and 8. Wild decision to scramble and throw it up to nobody in particular. And then a 71-yard, 12-play touchdown drive to tie the game at 13 with 2:32 left. The Panthers were firmly in the bend but don't break defense realm, right? If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to put together 10, 12, 14 plays without making that one mistake. And more often than not, either the Packers stalled out or they made that one mistake that allowed them to escape unharmed. No punts, 13 points, is unreal. The Packers did not punt and scored 13 points. That is a lesson in bend but don't break defense. But let me tell you how it's not completely random, right? The Panthers ran the ball very well. What does that do? That makes their drives longer, right? That means it eliminates clock. So now the Packers get 7 drives instead of 9, right? Because there's less time on the clock. And the Panthers' defense is more rested. So on the 10th play, when you're down in the red zone, they have a bit more when their defense, meaning Packers offense goes on a 10-play drive and you're down in the red zone or down in the scoring area, your defense has that extra energy, that last bit of fight to get the tackle, to get the trip up, which makes them settle for a field goal. It's all connected. Right? If the Packers go out there, go on a 10-play drive, and then the Panthers take over and it's 3 plays and out, all incompletions, the defense goes right back out over and over and over again, they're not going to be as good down in with their backs against their own goal line. If they have to do it 9, 10 times rather than 7, they're not going to be as good backed up against their own goal line. They're going to be exhausted. The running the football, committing to Dowdle, giving him 25 carries, that's what leads the defense to be able to play bend but don't break against a good offense. Granted, a good offense that faced a bit of an obstacle, big obstacle, when Tucker Kraft went down, which, by the way, was confirmed today, ACL. Awful for Tucker Kraft. Having a breakout season, the tight end for the Packers. But it is the way that game played out for the Panthers, that's plan A. Right? You in any form of life, right? In any walk of life, you hope that you plan aggressively for contingencies, for plan B, plan C, plan D, and that you never have to use them, right? When we go on remote, when we do a remote broadcast from a game, from a store, from somewhere, from a bar, we have, the main way we're going to connect, and we have backups. And guess what? We hope we set up those backups every single time. The phone line, the other connection, the other whatever, the other piece of equipment. And we hope we never have to use them. That's how the Panthers should operate. If we can win this with Dowdle and defense, we hope we don't have to go to anything else. Hope you prepare something else. Hope you never have to go there. And the Packers never pulled away in a game or in any kind of score situation that made the Panthers leave plan A. Since this little run they've been on, the games they've won, they very rarely had to leave plan A. Run the football, play defense. Dave Canales was asked today, speaking with the media, if they've sent a message that they're a tough team to beat.
We're just 1 week at a time, just looking for our group to play to the standard that we have for ourselves. That's what matters the most. To me, it's not about messaging. It's not about sending any message to anybody else but ourselves. Can we recapture the process and the excellence in the week it takes to have positive results on Sunday? And we got to stay locked into that mentality so we can return and get back to work.
Coach speak. No, they did send a message. You're 5-4. That is 100% a message sent. What even if it's not true, right? Even if you're not that scary of a team, 5-4 through an NFL season, through 9 games of an NFL season, teams are assuming you have bite. Teams are assuming you're there for a fight. And I think it is true in the most part for the Panthers. But even if it isn't, you're not sneaking up on anybody now. Message is sent. People hear you.
I remember Dave Canales before the season. I think J.C. Horn said it as well. Is that we're not going to be an easy out. We're going to be a team that you aren't going to enjoy playing week in and week out.
But if
that's exactly what's happened.
If you don't score 14 points in the first quarter, I think you're signing up for a 12-round fight with the Carolina Panthers. Which, by the way, actually, let's hear from Dave Canales first. But there's one more point I want to make, one more shout-out I want to give. But Dave Canales earlier today, because this ties into it, he talked about being able to play with physicality throughout the entire season.
We have to make sure we're smart with how we work our guys. But as long as we have opportunities to pad up, you got to play physical football, at least once a week to make sure that we have the edge, the pad level that's required to play that way, the technique that's required to play that way. And at the same time, you look through your schedule during the week and try to find small margins, try to just put a little bit back in the tank so that we can play that way on Sunday and play for as long as we need to. And that's what I was proud of too with the group is, all the way through the game, through the finish, offense, defense, and special team. It was a group that's flying around, playing this game full speed, playing with great effort and violently the way it's supposed to be played.
I want to give a shout out, talking of physicality. And yes, this game, but really, since week 3, the offensive line. The offensive line, they lost Robert Hunt week 2. Robert Hunt's supposedly their best offensive lineman. They lost him week 2. Do you know what were the worst 2 games they've played? 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Maybe Bills game also, but the Bills, they're good. Robert Hunt hasn't played since week 2. They've had 7 different combinations of offensive line start in 9 weeks. They have not had a single starter play all 9 games. And then all you have is Ike Ekwonu, who's at times in his career been much maligned, and Yosh Nijman, who we didn't talk about. It was a revenge game for Yosh Nijman.
Oh, yeah.
He did play for the Packers.
That's right.
But he's a swing tackle forced into duty, and they blanked Micah Parsons. That's not easy. That's not something to be scoffed at or glanced over. Rico Dowdle is doing great. Do not get me wrong. And obviously there's a difference between him and Chuba Hubbard or him and Trevor Etienne because when he gets the ball, he's doing more with it. But there are a bunch of plays where he's getting to the second level. And even if it's like technically after contact, he's running through arm tackles or, somebody grazing him while being engaged with an offensive lineman. The offensive line is doing their part in the run game. I am very impressed by a group that has every excuse in the world.
Well, like you said, different starting combinations nearly every week this year, but then during the game, you got to shuffle up your offensive line as well because Damian Lewis went out for a couple of plays, but comes back in. And then Chandler Zavala, who was out the last 4 weeks because of an injury, he gets hurt. So Jake Curran, who you signed off of Arizona's practice squad a month ago, has to step in and play a majority of the snaps at right guard. Oh, yeah, Zavala was in for Brady Christensen, who tore his Achilles against the Bills, who came in for Chandler Zavala, who got hurt with an ankle injury, who was in for Robert Hunt. Like you said, it's been a revolving door. Now, thankfully, I will say the one thing about this team that I think is carried over from last year to this year is that outside of Jake Curran, the other 9 guys that have played offensive line this season all returned from last year. So you don't have to worry about constantly plugging in a new guy that's fresh with the system or things along those lines. It's been musical chairs, but at least those guys all known each other since the beginning of last year. I think that continuity has helped.
I agree. I agree. I think all that matters. I still don't want to be like, it makes sense that they played. I still just want to give straight kudos.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
For making it happen. I do think that helps. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make it easy by any stretch.
Oh, 100% agree.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time to open up the phone lines.